And here's your bill, sir.
Nice one.
Yeah.
I'll just pay by card, mate, if you're ready.
Yeah, sure. I've got the car machine right here.
People are either going to completely agree with me on this one or completely disagree, but we need to talk about tipping in the UK.
They have this sneaky way of tipping in Scotland that I've never seen before, and I'm wondering if this happens in other places or if it's going to become like the new thing.
And it's really nasty work when you consider the fact that they'll just put it on a bill. That's nastier than what they do in the States. In the States, you know that it's a tip. Whereas here, you guys use the term service charge.
For those who doesn't know service charge is something that came to London around 1 year, few months now. And when you go to eat, you can leave a tip or not. That's how it works usually. Now there is this thing called service charge, and it came, I think, from United States.
Real spill, yeah. When did service charge become a thing in the UK, bro? I realized, why is it so big now, bro? You go out to a restaurant, you see service charge on the receipt every time. Yeah, we're trying to become America with the tipping culture so bad.
I mean, this is getting ridiculous, isn't it? If the businesses don't pay their staff enough fucking money, why should I be automatically paying a tip? That sounds like your problem, not mine.
I went to a coffee shop the other day, like self-service, takeaway, right? When I went to pay for it, there was a tip button on there. I was like, you haven't done anything for a tip. Like, what the hell? Like, you barely even smiled when I came in, to be quite honest with you.
Guys, I'm not trying to sound like a dick, but I don't tip. And in all honesty, I probably never will. And you can't make me feel like a bad person for doing it.
Does that make me an asshole? 40 minutes just to get a drink.
UK tipping culture. Yeah. You've had a really shit time.
You shouldn't have to pay it.
You shouldn't have to pay it.
Welcome back to Broken Britain, where even eating out feels like a scam. You go for a simple meal, you're already paying inflated menu prices thanks to this cost of living crisis, and then bam, a sneaky optional service charge gets slapped on your bill. Except, let's be honest, it doesn't feel optional, does it? And here's the kicker. Half the time, that service charge doesn't even go to the staff. It goes straight into the pockets of greedy chains. Meanwhile, the waiters, bartenders, and kitchen staff, the people actually serving you, are left relying on scraps. We've gone from tipping out of gratitude to tipping out of guilt, because the system is broken and workers are underpaid, and now customers are footing the bill for what companies should be paying their own staff. Today on Brit Rants, we're tearing into the UK's tipping culture and the shady world of service charges. If you're sick of being nickeled and dimed every time you step outside, hit that subscribe button, because the only thing optional here is how long we stay quiet about it.
Guys, I'm not trying to sound like a dick, but I don't tip. And in all honesty, I probably never will. And you can't make me feel like a bad person for doing it. Like, every time the check comes out and they ask me, how much do you want to tip? I put $0 every single time, no shame. Because let's be honest here, you guys, we all want to do that shit. It's just some people don't have the balls to. Like you. Yes, you watching the video right now. If you went to a restaurant and the tip option didn't even exist, you're telling me you would have stood up and been like, yeah, sir, I want to give you $5. Get the fuck out of here. Because, like, here's the thing, you guys. It depends on the restaurant that you're going to. Like, if I went to a really nice restaurant, I would probably tip the waiters. But, like, if I'm at fucking Subway and the goddamn worker expects me to tip his ass, respectfully, he can lick my ass. This is fucking Subway, bro. I didn't see you doing a bunch of backflips and shit while you're making my foot long. Like, just give me my sandwich. But, like, that's the issue. A lot of these waiters think that they're waiting at nice restaurants when they're not, so they expect huge tips when they work at fucking Chili's. Like, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, my guy, but I'm not fucking tipping you. Like, as soon as these motherfuckers find out that you're not tipping them, they start treating you like your first name is Adolf. Like, these motherfuckers start, like, doing a bunch of crazy shit and whining and bitching, like, oh man, if you can't tip, you shouldn't be going out anyway. Like, how about you suck my dick? It's the same thing with DoorDash drivers too. Like, if you don't give them a good service, they like throw your shit, they spit in your food, and it's just like, why are you getting mad at me for? I just ordered the shit. Why are you not getting mad at the people that fucking hired you? Like, maybe I'm the crazy one, but how does this shit make any sense? You're whining and bitching and complaining about not getting tips because you need them in order to make a living wage, but when you actually think about it, maybe it's the company's fault for not paying you an actually decent, livable wage, just base rate. Like, maybe if you got paid well by your original company, then maybe you you wouldn't need a fucking tip in order to survive. Like, that's what I mean. Like, do you understand how crazy that shit is? Instead of getting mad at the company that is paying them like ass, they get mad at the people that order from their company. How does that shit make any sense? It's like an Amazon driver getting mad at somebody for ordering a package. Like, motherfucker, that's your job. Like, that's the shit that makes no sense to me. Waiters expect the customers to reward them for doing their fucking job, when in reality, it should be the people that fucking hire them. So when these people are like, oh man, you shouldn't be going out, you need to be tipping them 25-30%, you're such a piece of shit and you don't do it, it genuinely makes my fucking blood boil. I'm not even joking. Because every time I don't tip, these motherfuckers treat me like I just curb stomped a baby, instead of actually getting mad at their company that pays them literally like 30 cents an hour. Like, how the fuck does that make any sense? Not my fault that you get paid the same rate as a fucking 6-year-old at a tea machine factory. Yo, this shit still pissed me off, but I remember one time I went into a crumble cookie and I had to place the fucking order myself, and the robot deadass asked me if I wanted to leave a tip. For what? Like, what the fuck am I tipping you for, man? I placed the order my fucking self. If anything, I should be getting the fucking tip. And especially in this economy too, if you think I'm gonna tip you, you got another thing coming, man. The only tip you could ever expect from me is the tip of my dick. So, like, this is no shade to the people that do want to tip when they go out. Like, that's your own stuff. Do what you want with your own money. I just have an issue with waiters trying to tell me what the fuck I should do with my own fucking money. You can respectfully suck my balls. I'm not gonna be tipping you, and I shouldn't feel like a piece of shit for doing so, because in all honesty, I shouldn't be the one that pays your salary. It should be the fucking company that hires you. That's not my problem. It's fucking yours. But yeah, guys, if you like this video, please join my Discord channel. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Link is in my bio. Hope you guys have a nice day, though. Bye.
And here's your bill, sir.
Nice one. Yeah. I'll just pay by card, mate, if you're ready.
Yeah, sure. I've got the car machine right here. Can I just say, I really like your hair. It's amazing. You are gorgeous, stunning, honey, stun, hun. You slay, girl. Cheers. Oh, wow-wee.
Don't look at me like that.
You are a tight bastard, aren't you? I deserve a tip. I complimented your hair.
Already a 12.5% service charge on there, isn't there? Don't look at me as if I've just killed your nan. Service charge is a tip. Gratuity, service, it means the same. You just named it differently to get more money out of me. Yeah. I know you're on minimum wage. I'm not your boss. You ungrateful little slime ball. Give me my money back. Go wash the grease out your hair and get me a fucking water, because you got me riled up.
Thank you. I'll be £2.40, please.
Right, okay. Give me here.
They have this sneaky way of tipping in Scotland that I've never seen before, and I'm wondering if this happens in other places or if it's going to become like the new thing. It's happened to me twice now, and this is my third day here. The first time it happened, I was like, oh, that's weird. And then the second time I was like, is this the pattern? Like, basically everything was normal up until they brought me the check. And then both times when I asked for the check, they brought over one of those card reader machines. It wasn't like a slip of paper, and that's already not ideal because half the time they breathe over your shoulder while you select your tip. I'm in Glasgow today, by the way. I just got to Kelvin Grove Park. I'm gonna go to the Art Gallery Museum later. Everything is so green, but like, look at this view. It's gorgeous. But with the card reader, she just sticks it in front of my face and is like, I added this much service charge. Can you just confirm that that's okay? So she had pre-added the tip to the bill. Like, if I wanted to change it or tip a different amount or do anything like that, like, I would have had to say, no, that's not okay. And then we would have had to go back in and change it. Like, it adds a whole nother step to make it as awkward as possible for someone when choosing how much to tip. So my first thought was like, I thought tipping in Europe was generally optional. Like, I haven't been here in a while and I know it does vary by country, but I thought it was more of just like, leave a little something here or there, like for exceptional service. And like, the only time I've ever heard of a tip being pre-added is for like really big parties, and it was just me, party of one. Also, the amount added both times, it was around like 12 to 15%, I think. So I'm curious if anyone knows if this is like a thing, like maybe just in Scotland. I don't know, I've never been here before, but both times it happened, I was too caught off guard. I was just like, yeah, that's fine. But if it happens again, I'm gonna be like, wait, hold on a second.
Just got back in for my first proper weekend out in London in a while, and I don't like this. I don't like this. What are y'all doing? You're doing too much. The service charges, everywhere I go, stop playing in my face. Like, when I was living in London, the service charge thing had gotten popular, but it was like the real bougie places. It was like, you know what? I had a great time. I'm out. I already knew I was going to spend big. Take the service charge. But now I'm going to get a full English at Pig and Bull. You want extra £5 from me? Stop playing. And it's really nasty work when you consider the fact that they'll just put it on a bill. That's nastier than what they do in the States. In the States, you know that it's a tip. Whereas here, you guys use the term service charge. One, you put it on a bill, and a lot of people don't know it's optional. A lot of people don't know it's optional. It doesn't say optional 9 times out of 10. So now you're just, I almost feel bamboozled, especially when you think about people who come from a different culture and they come visit London, because it's not all the UK, it's only London, where is a high tourist population, and they're coming from different countries where tipping is not even a consideration. So you have service charge, you're like, oh, okay, this is just a part of the bill. You're nasty. And if you've been following me for a while, you know that I'm very, very anti-tip, but it's a reason tipping happens in the States, and that reason does not exist in the UK. That argument does not exist in the UK. Oh my god, I was so annoyed. It's a lot of restaurants now. It's not just a few. It's everywhere. You guys got to cut it out, London.
I want to take off the service charge. Why? What's wrong with the service? Oh, nothing. I just want to take it off. But it's literally 12.5%. I know, I just would rather not. What, are you having financial difficulties? No, it's just I don't want... Oh, it's because you can't afford a place like this. Makes sense. No, wait, I can't afford to be here. So do you still want to take off the service charge?
Alright, real spill, yeah. When did service charge become a thing in the UK, bro? It's become popular now. I went out the other night, service charge, you know what I'm saying? Fair enough, the lady did her thing, she went beyond her job, so I paid it, you know what I'm saying? But I realized, why is it so big now, bro? You go out to a restaurant, you see service charge on the receipt every time. Yeah, we're trying to become America with the tipping culture so bad. Yeah, some guys do jack, they just do their regular job. Yeah, hand you the menu, go to the kitchen, bring you your food, and that's it. And then after, they expect a good service charge. Like, bro, what? I know some people won't pay the service charge for niche. They see the service charge, don't matter how much it is, they ain't paying it, bro. So why is it so big now? Why is service charge such a big thing now? That's what I want to know, man.
Does that make me an asshole? 40 minutes just to get a drink.
UK tipping culture. Yeah. You've had a really shit time.
You shouldn't have to pay it.
You shouldn't have to pay it. I think waiters and waitresses should be tipped 100%, but not if you're giving bad service and don't turn around and say, yeah, you can't take it off, it's a legality. Yeah. I went to a place that I will not say the name of, but it's very pink and glittery, and you would think it's right up my street. Yeah. I waited for probably about 20 minutes to be seated. There was no one in this place. So then I waited another 20 minutes just to order the drink.
Yeah, that's crazy.
For a unicorn milkshake moment, which tasted like cow's piss that was pink. How adorable. Add some glitter and
so in that scenario, you shouldn't have to tip.
Right? Gratuity is on the bill. And it's like 20%. I'm sorry, you did nothing.
20%?
20%. But loudly complain about your jobs on the bar, which, I've been there. I do it quietly, love. Don't do it loudly next to the only person in the entire restaurant.
Yeah, you're going to hear it.
I just don't think tipping culture should be a thing
if you've had
a bad service. I asked to have it removed because I said, I've been here for over an hour. All I had was a really crappy viral drink that just was a massive letdown.
I went out the other night to this beautiful Indian Bangladeshi restaurant.
It was amazing.
Oh my god, the best food I've ever had.
Amazing.
And the service was so lovely.
Incredible.
The guy that was serving us was so sweet, to the point where he poured out our water. I was like, no, you don't have to do that. And he brought us straws over. He was just such a lovely man.
Give him your sort code, your account number, give him everything.
I'll give you £1,000 tip,
insane,
mate, just because you're beautiful.
But, I want to know anyone else's opinion. If you've had really bad service, should you take the tip off?
And where's the line?
Where is the line?
Where is the line for good service and bad service?
Yeah, because it just really stuck in my craw.
Because also, if all they've done is come over and literally put your food down, you shouldn't have to tip that. Do you know what I mean?
Or it should be your tip in the kitchen.
So I need you to tell me if I'm the asshole here, okay? So yesterday was Sunday, we're living in London, so we have our first ever obligatory Sunday roast, okay? We book a place, we go to a pub, and as we're looking at the menu, I noticed that it says that they will automatically charge a 10% service fee on your bill, right, like a tip, and that if you don't want it on there, just ask the staff to take it off. And I'm like, okay, noted. Because when we walked in, it did take a long time to be seated. We had to wait, we asked someone, they were like, oh, I don't know, I'll ask someone else. Like, the service wasn't great anyway, it was fine, but nothing to write home about, okay? So we receive our meals, we eat them, It's like nothing special. It's standard like pub food. I don't finish mine. The boy like pops mine down, of course. We go up to pay and I'm like, oh, I'm just wanting to pay. He's like, no worries. Gives me the bill. It's got the like service charge. And I'm like, oh, can I just like take that service charge off? And he's like, yeah. So the service was terrible. I guess we did a terrible job. Kind of as like a joke. And I'm like, ha ha ha. Don't say anything. He goes, he takes it off. He comes back and he's like, can I ask why? And I'm like, yeah, just don't think it's necessary. You know, I don't want to go into the whole thing like, oh, we're not in America, you're being paid a living wage. Like, why is there a tip automatically put on here? I'm just like, oh, I don't think it's necessary. And he's like, okay, no worries. And does it. And I like pay. Now, that's not crazy, is it? Because it literally says, like, to be honest, if it hadn't said on the menu, like, you can just request to take it off, I would have seen the service charge and assumed that, like, it's a cover charge, like they have in Europe, where you just, like, have to pay it, and I wouldn't have disputed it, I would have paid it. But it says on the menu that you can ask to have it taken off. So I don't think it's that weird that I asked to have it taken off. If you don't want people to ask to take it off, don't put it on your menu. And also, we aren't in America. Like, what are you talking about? The service wasn't particularly good. It wasn't particularly taxing. I know you're being paid a living wage. This is not what is got like. Am I the asshole for not wanting to pay like a 10% service charge? In the UK, I think also I had seen a couple of videos of people talking about how things are really expensive in London and they have a service charge, and I had seen people in the comments saying like, you can just ask them to take it off. So I think that was also in my head that I was like, oh, this must be an okay thing to do. Is it an okay thing to do? I feel okay about it, but I also feel weird and I don't know.
People are either going to completely agree with me on this one or completely disagree, but we need to talk about tipping in the UK. So in the UK, when you go out for a meal, the restaurant will add a discretionary or optional service charge, aka tip, onto your bill that is somewhere between 10 and 15% of the cost of the bill itself. And having always grown up in the UK and eaten out in the UK, I don't remember this always being a thing when I was a child. But now it is added on to almost every single bill that I see whenever I go out. And although it says that it's optional or discretionary, you don't often feel that you've really got much choice but to pay it, because you don't necessarily want to have the hassle of saying to them, oh, you know, would you mind removing this service charge from the bill? And that's because of the fact that it's already been added on for you. You don't get any choice as to what tip you leave. The restaurant is telling you, this is the tip that we expect you to pay. And if you don't want to pay it, you're going to have to say to us to remove it. And I have been in the position previously where I've asked for an optional service charge to be removed because the people that I was out for dinner with couldn't afford to pay the tip that was requested from the restaurant. And they said, oh, why? Was there anything wrong with the service? And I just think that's difficult when it's an optional service charge, but then you're expected to give a reason when you want it to be taken off. And I completely get that the pay of waiters and waitresses and staff in restaurants isn't fantastic, and that a lot of their pay comes from tips. But I just don't believe that it should be the sole responsibility of the customer to fix that issue. I think it should be the responsibility of the restaurant owners or the chain or whatever to pay their staff better so that they don't expect their customers to pay another 10 or 15% on top of the meal that they've already paid for. And as we all know, the cost of a meal that you pay for in a restaurant is already far more than it would cost you to make that same thing at home. So they are already profiting from you going out to eat there. And don't get me wrong, I will absolutely leave a tip when the service has been fantastic and I'm really pleased with the service that I've received. But to just expect to have that tip every single time without doing much more than just bringing your food over to the table, I don't think is warranted.
One thing that I absolutely hate when eating out is when restaurants add a service charge. If I wanted to tip, I would, and I really hate the idea that I have to then ask for it to be removed. It makes me feel like an absolute ass, but quite honestly, a lot of the time when it's just me and my boyfriend going out for food, I do not want to pay 10% of my bill towards a service charge. If restaurants want their staff to have better pay, then they should be paying them better themselves, and they shouldn't be expecting money out of paying customers. We're already paying an arm and a leg for the food at the end of the day, and if the service is good, then we'll tip. It's as simple as that. But when you get the bill and you see service charge, which is normally 10%, and in this case, nearly £10, honestly, it just makes me feel annoyed. And I absolutely hate asking to have it removed. It makes me feel so stingy. So at the end of the day, it's just that we're on a budget and we're only paying for the food. We're always so polite and so grateful towards the service staff, but we're not in the position to pay the same price as a starter for a service charge. What is your opinion on them? Do you agree with me? Am I being selfish? Don't eat out very often, but this is my opinion.
I feel like a horrible human being. I just feel like we need to talk about this, okay? So after coming to the UK, this is the one thing I legit feel like a horrible human being. So if you all didn't know, UK actually has this thing where it's optional service charge. So on the menu or on the receipt, there's going to be a line that says there's a discretional service charge of like 13.5%, 10%. Basically what it's essentially trying to say is your service charge is optional. Okay, so you can actually remove it. So we went to like a pretty fancy Italian restaurant in London. When the bill came back to us, I saw that the service charge was £10. £10. Okay, and if you really calculate that, £10 is like around 17 Sing. I feel so bad about it, but like as a broke exchange student, I went to go and tell the waiter, is it possible to remove the optional service charge? I know. I just feel so bad. Okay, but okay, in hindsight, after that, we still tipped like the waiter like a few pounds, but £10 for service charge, it's very tough, man. It's very, very tough.
I'm gonna have a rant here. So I went out for lunch earlier today with my daughter, and we went to the well-known Zzz's. I'm sure you've all been there. It's lovely food. Anyway, we go in and the guy sits us down and explains to us we can order everything through this app now. We just scan this card. So we scan the food and it says don't pay until you've finished your meal. So we scan our food, you leave your sort of bill open until you finished. My daughter had another drink, came to the end of it, you press pay, and it automatically adds on a tip. So bearing in mind, the only thing that anybody did today was bring our plate of food over and our drink. They automatically added on a £5 tip. I think our bill was £42 and it came to £47. I looked at it, I thought, oh, that's a little bit odd. And it had added a £5 tip on. I took that straight off anyway. But are you getting pissed off now with everywhere you go? Do you go to a garage and go to pay for your petrol, and then they're trying to add a tip on, a 25p tip? Or you go to McDonald's and it's like, do you want to round that £4 and a penny up to the nearest pound or whatever it is? No, thank you. And I certainly don't want to be giving tips out to people if they've not even had to do anything. I mean, this is getting ridiculous, isn't it? If the businesses don't pay their staff enough fucking money, why should I be automatically paying a tip? That sounds like your problem, not mine. People are struggling enough as it is. But what do you reckon? Automatic tipping? What a fucking piss take.
I went to Korean barbecue today and they ended up charging me £18. £18 for service charge. I cooked my own meats and I barely had any interaction with the waiters and waitresses besides them taking my order and handing me my food, which I think is basic for any restaurant. Like, that's the absolute bare minimum. And to charge £18 on service charge is actually criminal.
I went to a restaurant yesterday and you know what I don't like? Being charged service charge. The guy presented my bill. It came to like £50. Yeah. I pre-calculated the bill, so I knew how much, it was going to be, and it was going to be £50. Then he slapped a 10% service charge, made it £55. I looked at him, brother, I did not buy, I did not have £55 worth of food. I don't know what you're talking about. He goes, brother, it's a 10% service charge. I go, excuse me, fam, take that service charge off my bill. He goes, why? Was there anything wrong with the service? I go, nothing was wrong with it. Alhamdulillah, it was nice food, nice staff, great customer service. But I refuse to pay service charge. In some places, that is disrespectful. It is mandatory to give service charge. I'm sorry. The service charge goes to the restaurant. It doesn't go to the employee. If the employee is exceptional, I will tip the employee. When I was on holiday, I was tipping the restaurant staff. One guy during my stay, he was very exceptional, asking me and the people that I was with how we were doing, you know, going out of his way. So I tipped him. You know, I'm not gonna pay extra on my bills just so that it funds the company. I'd rather make sure it goes to the person who's actually doing exceptional work. But yeah, I think we should reject service charge. Some people just, you know, pay just for the sake of paying it. They don't want to be confrontational. At the end of the day, I work hard for my money. I need to know where my money is going. That's my stand of things.
Hello all, Ryan, your favourite butler here. Now, I want to talk to you about the UK tipping culture and why we seem to be getting this US style over in the UK. Traditionally in the US, restaurateurs don't pay their waiters and waitresses very much, and they make a significant part of their wages up through tips. So I get it, like, understand, happy with that. That's your culture, you deal with it. But what's happening in the UK is that it's automatically on every bill now that I see. Like, tipping in the UK was for exemplary service, right? And I'm a butler, I'm a staff, like, I get it, like, I get the tips. So, but I want it to stop because it is insane. I went to a coffee shop the other day, like self-service, takeaway, right? When I went to pay for it, there was a tip button on there. I was like, you haven't done anything for a tip. Like, what the hell? Like, you barely even smiled when I came in, to be quite honest with you. So one of the things that the US way of tipping does, it actually upskills and creates a better hospitality environment because servers work for their tips, right? It's like, it's not expected. Whereas in the UK, now it's just on every bill that you get, you've got to either ask to take off the surcharge or whatever. And as a, you know, as a passive aggressive Englishman, it's very difficult for me to say, you know, would you mind taking this off the bill, please? Especially when the server's there going, you know, oh, tip, please, sir. You know, were you not happy with the service? You're like, I'm happy with the service. It's good service. You've done a great job, but it's not exemplary service. And that's what UK tipping was all about. It upskilled the workforce. Like, nobody needs to try anymore. Nobody needs to bother. The restaurateurs are making more money than ever. Are they really? And are the servers actually getting the tips? You pay for it by card, goes off to the accountant somewhere. A lot of creative accounting going on before it even gets to the person who you think did a good job. So always put tenner in your pocket, 20 quid in your pocket to pay the staff that you think have gone over and above of what you would normally expect. But geez, do not get this. We got to stop it. We got to stop this US style way of doing things. It's rubbish. It doesn't work. It's annoying the hell out of me. I don't know what to do about it. Well, I do know what to do about it. Like I say, I usually vote with my feet and don't go to that restaurant. If you can't pay your staff enough in the UK to run a restaurant, then the business model is flawed. You shouldn't exist as a restaurant. Tips are there as exemplary service in the UK, not as a standard, not as a given. Like, don't just tip people because it's on the bill. Please speak out. Stop it. It's doing my nutting.
So what I totally don't get is, right, you see all these headlines, prices going up, jobs going in the economy, and employment rising, you know, everything is basically going to pot. And yet, you go places for a coffee, for a cake, for a bit of a, you know, sandwich or whatever, and the service has gone downhill. Oh my word, what? When on earth did poor service become the default here? I mean, come on. If you get a hello, you're lucky. Jeez. If you get a hello, you are lucky. And then 12.5% service charge. Many thanks, no thanks.
If you are a waitress or waiter here in the UK, then I want to hear from you. Or indeed, if you're a restaurant owner, stitch this or leave me a comment. So I've always tipped. is always between 10 and 15%. It doesn't matter where I am, as long as I've received a good service and I've enjoyed the ambience, I always tip. Now, I've had a situation recently over the last kind of 4 to 6 weeks when I've been dining out at restaurants. I've noticed a service charge is added onto the receipt, whereas in the past that would only ever be on like big tables. And so I was like, oh, brilliant, I don't need to work out what tip to leave because it's there. And so I then haven't left a tip because 12.5% has been added to my bill already, and I have assumed that that is the tip. Now, I was out with friends the other week. Lovely waitress. I'm not going to name the restaurant. It's a national chain. I'm not going to name it. But lovely waitress. We were just paying, and something made me say to her, can I just check that with the service charge you get that? And she said no, she doesn't get that. The service charge is making sure that their wages are to a certain level, and it goes to the kitchen staff and everybody else, but it doesn't go to the waitress in this instance, or waiter. And I'm mortified by that because I wanted her to get that tip. She's the one that gave me a really good service, that was attentive, that made us feel welcome, that actually really helped us with the decisions in the menu, choosing the right choices. And I've been dining out quite a lot recently, and I haven't left a tip because it's had the 12.5%. And I'm now mortified to think that these amazing waiters and waitresses that have served me haven't received a tip, because I have assumed the 12.5% is going to them. Now, what I can't afford to do is do a 12.5% service charge and then another 10% for the waitress. So tell me, what would you do? What should I do to make sure that my serving staff that have served me is getting a tip? Do I ask the restaurant to remove the service charge and then I leave her or him a 10%? What do I do? Tell me more. I want to know whether this is just this restaurant or whether this is across the board, that the waiting staff don't actually get any of the service charge. Please tell me.
Paid £70 in service charge for our dinner just then, and I'm crying. The service was at best just okay as well. Nothing special, but service charge was nearly $130.
If you can't afford to pay a service charge, then you should be out in middleman dining.
Disagree.
Right, I'm annoyed. I'm really, really annoyed, and I really hate this because it's about something that you all guys probably know, and it's the service charge. I made them all brownies, so maybe that's why I have something in my mouth. Now I'm gonna be looking at it. So for those who doesn't know service charge is something that came to London around 1 year, few months now. And when you go to eat, you can leave a tip or not. That's how it works usually. Now there is this thing called service charge, and it came, I think, from United States, and it's based that they do like a 7.5, 10%, so depending on the place they do that, and they say this service charge is only for the crew, for the members, and it will be paid to them as a goodwill, and it's optional. This is really important. It's optional. And we come to a moment where I'm really pissed off. I am really against about tips and service charge and all of these things. I do believe you can do an amazing job, and you can recompense someone if you want for their job, I guess. But I hate the fact that it's now implied. It's like an implicit thing that when you go and pay your bill, there's a service charge. They do not even ask you. You have to ask to be removed. And when you ask, like, can you please remove it? They really look bad at you, like, oh my God, you are so bad, or you are so mean, or you don't value us. And we went to a place, so my friends visit me. It was my birthday on Saturday, and we went for a few places. They came to London, and all of them have service charge. And we are talking about that bills go around 100. Like 3 people going to eat outside, depending on the places, more or less, unless you go to a cheaper places. But we went to normal cafes. I swear, we didn't go to anything like super crazy amounts for what is London right now, and places that everyone mostly can go. And you know, I'm not gonna go into it, the fact that on the menu. So the menu should be thought like to get the money for the staff, fair money for their jobs, the cost of the restaurant, the cost of the rent, the cost of the calorie, the cost of the services, everything. That's what your bill about it. That's how it's breaking down, supposedly. So this thing came from United States, and I saw so many people, oh my God, if you're not gonna come and leave some tip, do not come. I expect you to leave a tip for me, and then we expect you to leave the service charge. And it, to me, should be illegal to put it there, because what I think they play with is the fact that you're gonna be too embarrassed to say, could you please remove it? Or, you know, you should ask, like, would you add any tip or any service charge? That should be your choice. But no, it's coming to it, and a lot of people say, well, just leave it, doesn't matter. But it's the fact that sometimes the service charge goes to like £20, 15 to 20 pounds, and it's like another plate. And plates are already very expensive. I'm not sure for those who doesn't live in London, but in London, most of the places on breakfast, only the breakfast is like 10 to 15 pounds, the plate, and the coffees goes between 4 to 5 pounds. That's a coffee in London, and I think that's a lot of money already. You are paying a lot of money, and you know what? It's your choice. If you want to go to those places and pay the prices, that's your choice. But what I do not think it should be like mandatory already or there is the service charge. If you want to leave a tip because you believe on tipping, that's your thing, and I respect it. I do not support it. I do not support tipping. I think that a decent salary should come within the job, and if not, the people should complain, and the government should also intervene on fair salaries. And I think in London this year it went a little bit higher than usual. It went from like 11.95 to 13.5, so that's the minimum that you should be getting per hour. £13.50, sorry, if I'm not wrong. That's in London. I don't know other sites, and I understand that a lot of people count with the tips, but it's not in my responsibility for you to get paid fairly. It's my responsibility when I exercise my right to vote. I know who I'm voting for. If you're voting people who don't want to put your salary to a decent amount of level and that are not working towards you having a better life, that's on you. And that's on everyone on voting. But I saw so many videos of people saying, no, that's so rude of you. You should be tipping. If you don't tip, you shouldn't go. I'm sorry, I'm going to a place to enjoy, and you are doing your job, and I expect to do your job right in the same way I expect mine and other jobs to be done right and correctly. I know that's sometimes not the case, but I really think it's really annoying and upsetting the fact that they expect you to pay more money for something that you are already paying. Because remember this, when you go and you get the menu, you are already paying. That's money, like £4.50 for a coffee, a small latte like this, it's way more than it costs for them. And they're increasing the price because of the TikTok videos, because they have a lovely place or somewhere. You know what? Again, that's your choice. You want to go there, that's your choice. I'm not gonna discuss with you. I'm like £14 for 2 eggs and a toast. Okay, that's my choice. But when this last weekend when we went and I said to the lady, can you please remove it? They really looked bad at me, and when I say thank you so much, bye, they was like, bye, like really, like we are pissed off with you because you decided to remove the service charge, and they expect everyone to pay the service charge. Now bear in mind that that place, for example, had 30 people, and there was a queue there to go in when I came and when I left. So you can see how much people, and the average of people will spend 50 to 60 pounds. Like we were 3 and our tip, and our bill was like £60. So you can see, so I think the service charge was something like £7-8, but that's on top of the whole weekend. So for example, we went for breakfast, the service charge was like, I think it was £12, something like that. It really was a lot. And what I'm saying is, like, first, it's my choice if I'm going to leave you a tip, but second, you shouldn't treat me bad to me because I choose not to tip you. I am not here to pay your extra salary. And I'm saying this from someone, for example, is a student and it's working on his hours and then studying. So imagine my account. I'm not rich. I don't have parents who are rich. So you can imagine that maybe I'm not the richest person. But even if you are, I do not think that should be mandatory for you, and the people should not look bad at you. And again, I saw so many videos of people complaining. I'm sorry, everyone as a society has a responsibility. You have a right, which is to vote. If you don't do it, or you don't do it correctly, or you're doing it against your own interest, that's on you. But asking to people to pay extra salaries for you, I think it's very bad and very rude, and I am against. So, and I always ask, can you please remove the service charge? I think I only leave it in 1 or 2 places I really like, and the people are really friendly. But that's my choice, and I don't think I do it so often anyway, because I don't go out so often. So it depends on everyone, but I think that everyone has their own right, and I think the service charge, it should be legal, to be honest. I'm sorry. The service charge is included on the menu and the money I pay. If you want soap, put the prices up, and then people will choose to go or not to go there and say, you know what, 5% of this price that you are paying is going into them straight away from your thing, not as a service extra, because that's, I think that creates a culture that is really toxic and bad. And then the people, and I know this for a fact, especially in cafes, I work on cafes for 9 years, and something that some people used to say, you know what, don't worry because of the salary, because you're gonna get a lot of tips, and you're gonna get it was not service charge when I was in a cafes, but you know what I mean, you're gonna get extra tips, and most of the time the tips are going into the boss. So I'm not gonna even say on that. I don't know how legal are the places where they do this, but up to you. Anyway, take care. I hope people don't do service charge or tip, to be fair, but that's my choice. Ciao.
Right, talk to me about tipping in the UK. So I work in hospitality. I've worked in hospitality all my life, and I am very much a tipper, and I very appreciate tips when I get them. And I think that tips are a nice gesture to say thank you that I got something beyond what I expected. Everything about the meal that I just had was better than what I think the value for what I paid is. Last night in London, I went to a restaurant, and it was a pizza and pasta place. It was nothing too fancy, and I got the bill for 3 people. It came to £80. They then put on a 12.5% service charge. Absolutely fine. I think that's great. So the bill then goes up to like £90 and 94 pence or something. Absolutely fine, more than happy to pay that service charge, because it was good. The waiter then said throughout the evening, he said, how is the service, is it good? And I was like, yes, but let me just clarify what happened. We ordered our food. He then came back 10 minutes later and double checked what we ordered, and then I saw him ring it in the till. So he'd obviously forgot to ring it in the till, and that's fine, mistakes happened. But he can't have forgotten all of ours, just mine. So like the 2 people that I was with, they got their dinner. I then had to wait like 10 minutes for my dinner, by which point they were halfway through their dinner. Which is fine, it's not a problem, and my food was nice. Like, I'm not moaning about it, I'm just saying that's a fact, that's what happened. It makes the service not amazing, but the food was good. So the 12.5% tip, service charge, automatically added, no problem with. Tell me why this man then said, the bill came, and he said, should I round it up to 100? I said, there's a service charge already on there. The person that was paying, because it wasn't me, was like, not paying attention. The waiter then put in £100, and my boss paid the £100. So that's a 25% tip. Is a service charge not a tip? I'm confused by this. Is a service charge not a tip? Is that something else now? Is that like, I don't know what it would be if it's not a tip, but does that not go to the staff? And then am I having to tip on top of a service charge? I'm confused. I'll pay it. Like, if it's great, like, of course I'll pay it. But are we doing both? Because that seems like that's a 25% tip. That seems crazy to me. Tell me in the comments.
Here's the reality. Tipping culture in Britain isn't really about rewarding staff anymore. It's about corporations shifting responsibility onto customers. According to surveys, over 70% of diners in the UK feel pressured to pay service charges, even when service was poor. And despite government promises, there's still no guarantee that all of that money goes to staff. In fact, investigations have shown that some chains take as much as 10 to 15% of tips or service charges, leaving workers shortchanged while companies pocket the difference. And the numbers don't lie. The UK hospitality sector employs nearly 3 million workers, many on minimum wage. Without proper pay, these staff rely on tips just to make ends meet. But instead of wages rising, businesses are using service charges as a crutch to avoid paying fair rates. Customers end up subsidising corporate greed while staff still struggle. Meanwhile, ordinary Brits are already crushed under record high bills, rent, food prices, and taxes. And yet, we're still expected to cough up extra just to make sure the people serving us can survive. It's not generosity anymore. It's guilt, and it's broken. So what's the fix? Transparency. Make it law that 100% of service charges go directly to staff. Fair pay. Hospitality companies should pay livable wages. Tips should be a bonus, not a lifeline. Honest menus. No hidden extras. What you see on the menu should be what you pay at the table. Because let's face it, Britain doesn't need another hidden tax disguised as a service charge. Workers deserve proper pay, and customers deserve honesty. Until that happens, we'll keep calling it out. Because if we don't rant about it, who will? If you've had enough of being ripped off every time you eat out, hit subscribe, share this video, and join the movement. Brit Rants will keep exposing every scam, every ripoff, and every broken promise in this country, one hidden charge at a time.